A lot of the wives, especially the ones that were kind of my mentors, were really the backbones of the families and the athletes in their career.
We've danced around it a couple times. I want to talk a little bit about the show that you're working on because it ties into a lot of the topics we've talked today. But with the show, yeah. Well, I mean, so it ties in with some of the stuff that Frank does, in terms of money management. Ties into stuff about like the approach to this show ties into like our this philosophy around audience versus how to monetize that. Does the size matter and that sort of thing? So let's just talk about the show and let's just riff off of it for a little bit because I think I was fascinated by the concept when you brought it up. So
I love how I came into the office for something completely different and it grew into something.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Well,
it's so organic.
It's funny because like I think you came in for us just to hang out.
Right.
And then we're like, hey, let's do a podcast. And then after the he was listening to the podcast and then I had to do something else and you were hanging out talking and then you left. I was like, oh, and then later he's like, yeah, we're working on a show. I was like, what? Where did that come from?
I didn't know that until he said, hey, I spoke to Ryan. It was all him.
I know.
That's what you hired me for.
But what happened was I got recruited. See? Because you're okay. All right. But I'm trying to tie everything in together. So.
There you go.
But I am very excited about this. I've been wanting to build this show for a very long time. I would say maybe 5 years now. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of fails along the way. It was a lot of insecurities. And am I in a place to even have this type of conversations with my NBA sisters and all of that? So I had to really kick myself, push myself. And I had to have friends even tell me, like, just do it. Just do it. Just get it done. You've been working on this for a long time. And now I have the opportunity to actually make it come alive, and it's very exciting. So the show is going to be a docuseries where we go in and meet with my lovely NBA sisters and really discuss and celebrate the lifestyle and the accomplishments of the wives that were behind the athletes that helped them succeed. Whether it was in their marriage or in their business or in their career as athletes, whatever it was. Every sister of mine, every woman, and this goes to every woman out there, honestly, who has been married and is in different lifestyles, they brought very valuable things to the table. And I feel like we never got to share that. And there's a lot of underdogs that, and there's also a lot of stereotypes that we want to kind of break down. I know we love shows with drama and entertainment, and we can still bring that in. But at the same time, I really want to celebrate them and hear their stories. They have a lot of untold stories that can help inspire, motivate, and really just encourage the next person, whether it's in money and whether it's just in their marriage. So
I think the tagline is kind of at least the one that
that was a really long tagline. I'm sorry.
So, well, to sum it up, it's a little bit like NBA Wives meets This Guest Needs No Introduction with David Letterman. That's it's like an interview show that's a kind of a docuseries, but it really kind of digs deep into the stories and the motivations and the whatnot.
Yeah.
You were telling us something earlier with Frank. As a recruiter, I'm shocked that the NBA doesn't talk to spouses. Because old headhunting, you don't offer a position to somebody unless you've talked to the spouse, because they're not going to move across the country unless they've talked through it. So you literally talk to the spouse before you make an offer. And I'm thinking the NBA, you were mentioning the NBA brings in, can we say the name? I'll let you tell. What were you telling us about?
Well, the wives are, a lot of the wives, especially the ones that were kind of my mentors, were really the backbones of the families and the athletes in their career. So they were the go-to and I always navigated towards the older community, the older sisters, because I wanted to learn a lot.
Right.
I wanted to know my resources. I wanted to get through a difficult time, or I just always wanted to be in in the room to learn the next thing, if that makes sense. And so, you know, being in that lifestyle, we were always given a lot of amazing opportunities. You meet phenomenal people, and doors are open, and it's really up to you whether you want to take that opportunity or not, or make an opportunity for yourself. The thing is, the biggest conversation, and it's very, very layered. It's not going to be one answer because everybody's situation was different. So I could only speak for myself. With that, you know, I would say I was very discouraged that we had a lot of these financial programs that came in and really didn't prep us with financial literacy. It was always about the athlete.
Right.
It was never how to teach you how to run your business, or it wasn't about how to save money when such and such. It was really geared towards the investment for the athletes, or, you know, if Morgan Stanley came in or any other investment companies, and, you know, the target was the athlete, which makes sense. They're making the money, right? But you got to understand there's families that come along with the athlete.
Right.
And like you're saying, they have to go back to their spouse. Not a lot of marriages were like that. You know what I mean? So, and then some athletes get into the game and they're already making their money, and then they find their spouse. Now the financial dynamic is a little different. So it's very complicated. For me, I would have loved a program set up for me and how to manage wealth for my children, whether I'm in a marriage or not a marriage, as a woman, as a female entrepreneur, as maybe a leader for other wives, or maybe the younger wives that are coming in, they want to learn. You know what I mean? I would have loved to learn a few things and it not make it just about, and this goes back to, it was one of the main reasons I never changed my last name. I wanted people, customers, everyone around me to really pay attention to my work and not place me in a category of MBA wife.
Right.
Hey, thanks for watching The Merge. We've got a ton more stuff for you to watch on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, everywhere. Check us out.